What's happening, people? I'm back at you again. I just wanted to just do a short video since something was on my mind. Uh, this video is going to be entitled "For Every Reaction, There's a for every action there's a reaction, and for every action there's a judgment. Where there is just there is just judgment. Where there is judgment, there is just or justice. Now you may ask, what is the word just? What does the word just mean? The word just simply means fair. Now I'm speaking and coming at you all in a sense, this is in a biblical sense. Like, if you, the best way is to get people's attention when it comes to the Bible or anything, when you're dealing with anything pointed out in black and white, such as the Bible, the prophets, the minor prophets. When you talk about the minor prophets, that's talking about the last prophets of the Old Testament going into the New Testament, stuff like that. The best way to approach people that I realize from listening to other people is ask people, do they believe in justice? Ask them, do they believe in fairness? Do you believe in fair? Do you believe a judgment based upon, do you believe that you should reap what you sow when you do something wrong or when you do somebody bad? But I'm going to say this here. White people got a horrible judgment coming up on them. Now, for a lot of people, this may seem horrible for me to talk like this here. It may be horrible. Sometimes it may even hurt. See, our people, the so-called black Americans, you know what happens when we tell the white man that we're going to take their babies according to Psalms chapter 137 and Psalm 137 verses 10, and happy shall eat. God says happy, that's a judgment. But a lot of our people can't accept that because we've been brainwashed with the philosophies and the ways of the so-called white man, which is America. You see what I'm saying? We have been trained in the so-called white man. They knew what they was doing. They trained us as to feel bad and sorry for them when we talk about taking and bringing a harsh judgment on them, just like they did toward us. Because see, what we as a black people don't think about, we don't think about how they shot us down in the street. We don't think about how our great granddad and grandpa was hung, lynched, burned, and castrated and castrated. We don't think about all what their ancestors did to us. So if you look at the Bible talks about, now you may hear some white people say, well, I didn't do it to you. I didn't do it. I wasn't there during that time. I didn't do it. But the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. So that means they got to pay, just like we are paying for what our forefathers done right now. Just like, even though we didn't come up in the 1618 in 400 and some 100 plus years ago, 600 and some plus years ago, and we may say, oh well, black people was only born in the 90s. They wasn't born in the 60s. They wasn't born back in BC. No, we was not born back in BC, but we still is an outcome of that dysfunction. We still is a very outcome of that dysfunction from our great-great-granddad and his great-great-granddaddy, and from our great-great-great-granddaddies going all the way on down the line. So just like they had to pay for what they have done to what they done to us, how they made us, our grandmothers and grandfathers, work out in the field and stuff like that, and we had to serve our master, we had to worship the master, and our the slave masters beat the raw, beat the meat off of our people, beat them raw until skin went to falling off their back and stuff. Every whoop they would whoop the slaves with, the blood, it would shoot everywhere, and then there would be meat would just be coming off of the people. This is where we get the abuse from, and this is why our grandmothers and great grandmothers and things beat they children, because they thought that it was right, because the slaves took and beat it in them, and then they in essence turn around and beat their grandkids, and then their grandkids grew up and mistreated and beat their kids. and it's just a dysfunction from generation to generation. So just like the so-called white man put us in those conditions and caused us to do that against each other, guess what? There's a price to pay. They got to get all that back, what they have done to us, to our people, to the people of color. That's right, they do. Just like they had us out there working, our grandparents working hard in the field and all of that, and they taking a man's wife and raping a man's wife in front of him, raping his son in front of him. You know, they got to get all that back. That's what the Bible says in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, when he say a man, he's talking about Esau, the so-called white man. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Now I'm going to leave it right there. I'll be back and talk to y'all about the upcoming judgments, about fair and judgment. And I want y'all to give me an answer on that. Peace and love to my people of color. I'm out because this music is playing. I don't want that in my video. All right, I'm out.